Commissioner Kershaw, I have some questions for you about the very good work that the AFP does in tackling child sexual abuse in Australia. At the last Senate estimates, you and I discussed the high likelihood of convicted child sex offenders re-offending after they're convicted. I believe you noted at the time a report from the US which finds there's a 70 to 80% of convicted child sex offenders re-offend when they're released back into the community. And I just wanted to drill down into this issue a little more with you this time. What powers does the AFP have to monitor the devices, internet use, movements of convicted sex offenders so that you can catch those who re-offend as quickly as possible?
From the 1st of July 2019 to the 30th of June, the ACE Child Protection Triage Unit received 21,000 reports of child sexual exploitation. Now that compares to 14,000 for last year, so that's the differentiation I mentioned. Similarly, along similar lines, for the same year, the AFP has commenced proceedings against 161 people for child sexual exploitation related offences on 1,214 charges. That compares to 74 arrests last year on 372 charges.
Thank you very much for that update, Deputy Commissioner. And I must ask this question though, particularly given the statistics you just raised around the increase in reports and the evidence that these convicted sex offenders are moving around in the community once they're out. I mean, we've seen a shocking explosion in the level of people accessing child abuse material. Combining that with what we know about reoffending rates, and I refer back to the commentary from Commissioner Kershaw from last estimates around the 70 to 80% reoffending number, do you think that this warrants a broader rethink about how the courts deal with these child sex offenders?
There is not enough research that has been, done globally around tracking this particular crime type, given the fact that there is different views about whether you're hardwired this way or it's a one-off. There is mixed views on that. My view is that these offenders often can't stop. They're hardwired this way, and so they're ever-present danger, and that's backed up by our increases and the evidence of children being offended against. So we really need to think through our strategies and our legislation and keep up with the environment to make sure that we're really focusing on protecting our children.
There's no one solution, as the Deputy Commissioner has made clear. In relative terms, though, the weight of effort in terms of policy and potential legislative reform, as Mr Dutton's made clear as the relevant minister, we are very concerned about the amount of traffic that's flipping over to the dark web. You start to lose the trace of where the devices are, where the IP addresses are, who's logging into these abhorrent sites, where the administrator is, where the server is. And just to foreshadow for this committee, because I suspect we're going to have quite detailed discussions about this in the months and indeed period coming ahead, is the government has foreshadowed in association with its cybersecurity strategy that it has challenged and asked us, we're working very closely with the AFP and with other agencies, how do we attack the dark web? How do we strip back the legitimate anonymity that on occasions through VPNs and the like is entitled and is available for use in relation to your privacy, but what you're not entitled to do is then to use that anonymisation to hide these abhorrent criminal networks such that they basically disappear off the grid.
Thank you for sharing that, Secretary, and thank you once again to the AFP for all that you do to keep our community and most importantly our children safe.